Kris here, another quick tip for you all. In this video, we are going to continue our look at painting Emperor's Children Space Marines from the Horus Heresy Betrayal at Kelth box set. And as you see here, we have our Emperor's Children Marine all ready to go. And so in this video, we are going to work on painting the Eye of Horus on his armor. And so the Eye of Horus seems to go kind of anywhere, and so I figured, well, I'm going to put it on the Power Fist, as it's a nice big surface area to paint something like this. And so to get us started, we're going to use some Averland Sunset, and I'm going to begin by drawing the eye itself. And most of the eyes I see are just basically a very circular motif. They're not a very eyeball shaped design. They're actually more of a circular design, kind of like a cat's eye kind of thing. And so basically I just draw a circle, and then with Averland Sunset thinned out a little bit, I begin to fill in that circle. And of course, because we're using Averland Sunset, which is a base color, we won't have to apply too many layers, as it is quite thick and opaque. And then here I'm just simply going to create some embellishments around the eye, because Emperor's Children have all this kind of filigree and all this really kind of nice designs around their armor. I guess showing, kind of like the whole decadent kind of thing going on. So I'm going to do the same thing with this symbol here. I'm not going to do just simple eyeball, because that'd be kind of rather boring. And so I think I'll just do some fancy little scroll work around the eyeball. And here it's just basically I drew a little curvature and then a line following the outside. And then I draw a kind of somewhat elongated diamond along the openings on the other ends of the design itself. These are just kind of made up by me. It's not really following any kind of pattern or design set out by the books or anything like that. This is just kind of free-handed and just kind of made up, and I was just running with it really. And as you see, you kind of make a few mistakes here and there, and we can always come back with the purple later on and clean that up. We're not going to bother with it now while we still are working in the base colors and going to get into the highlighting of things. So it's not a huge concern, because we can clean it up afterwards when we're done, when everything's said and done. You can see that bottom diamond closest to the knuckles is kind of misshapen, and so we'll fix that later on. Here I'm just re-establishing some of that line work. Again, it's easier to clean up the line work when you're in the area, and not so much coming back to it later on with other color and what have you. And it's better to, like, once you have the paint and you're in the mood and you're in the flow of drawing those lines, to go over it again and deepen up those lines. Yriel Yellow is next, and this is going to be our first highlight color here. For the eyeball itself, I'm simply going to draw little lines pointing in towards the center of the eye, basically imitating the iris of an eye. And it's not terribly obvious here, because the Averland Sunset and Yriel Yellow are not too far apart from each other, but you can see a slight distinction between them. And then for the other elements, I'm going to go for a non-metallic metal feeling for everything else. So that's basically going to be, throwing highlights on the high points, and also a little bit on the bottom points as well. On the scroll work itself, it's just going to be on the curvature and then the uppermost bend around the circle. Otherwise, inside the curvature itself, it's just going to be left a little bit dark. Again, just to give us that non-metallic appearance. So again, with the eyeball, I will go back into the eyeball again, just to help create that texture in there, like similar to an iris. You have those little lines. I don't know what the anatomy of an eyeball is, but I think you guys understand what I'm talking about here. Again, it can be kind of tricky. Either maneuver the model around whichever way is comfortable for you, or just simply draw the lines and just have the lines pointing in towards the center. Next is Dorn Yellow. This is a really fun color, really nice, easy color to use when you're simply just going to paint right straight from the bottle. And then here again, I'm simply going to create the little striations in the eye itself, concentrating most of the color in towards the center, but also along the bottom edge again, because here I'm concentrating a little bit of the color, almost like a gem effect, where I want it darker up where the light source will be and brighter down at the bottom end where the light would gather. Kind of multiple effects going on there, with the somewhat gem-like effect on the eyeball, and then of course the non-metallic metal on the filigree details. Again, this is just simply little dots here and there, just to kind of pick out some of those little details. Again, this is just really to give an impression of, non-metallic metal. We're not really, following anything in particular. And so, again, with the eyeball, it's just simple throwing the little striations in there. And basically, again, following how we do gems, where we get the deeper color up at the top and brighter at the bottom. But with the lines, we want more of that brighter colors gathered at the bottom. Abaddon Black is next, and this is just going to be thinned out with a little bit of medium. Of course, I don't mention it all the time with all the colors, but you can imagine that most of the time I'm only using the main medium when I'm thinning out my colors here. In case I did not mention that. So you see here, I'm just simply drawing the iris now. And the iris for the Eye of Horus, it's kind of like this cat's eye kind of thing. Kind of evil, scary kind of motif to it. So, again, we're going to do that. And again, it's often depicted with this kind of yellowish kind of tinge. So, again, it fits in with the Emperor's Children. And so the Eye of Horus is yellow, or is kind of this yellow cat's eye kind of thing going on. Here I've taken Xereus Purple and thinned it out a little bit. And now we're going to clean up some of the details here. Again, get that diamond shape back into shape. And also help the filigree around the eyes, just get a little bit more space between them. Help clean those lines up just a little bit. If my hands would stop shaking. As you can see there, we're just simply going around. Again, creating a little bit more separation there. Again, making those lines feel a little bit small, a little bit tighter, and a little bit more intricate and delicate. Again, just kind of add more to the whole, regal kind of appearance to the Emperor's Children armor that often you see. They have the little details and the filigree, and, they have all these little embellishments all over their armor. Next is Seraphim Sepia, and this is going to be for the filigree details and for the eyeball itself. Create a little bit more color depth in there. And again, with the previous videos where we had shown in the Legion marking, creating this non-metallic metal effect, this is a really fun way to get a deeper shade in there. And you can see I'm basically adding the shade into the uppermost points, like on the diamonds, but not to obscure the little bright points. Again, it really helps create that non-metallic look when you have these contrasting highs and lows next to each other, like right next to each other. And for the eyeball itself, I'm just creating allowing the sepia to touch the outer edges of the eyeball. Again, gives us a little bit more color depth, gives us a little bit more feeling of a natural kind of eyeball. It's not some sort of like sculpted detail or something like that, We want this to feel like a natural kind of eyeball. Agrax Earthshade is next, and this is very, very tiny little use of Agrax. This is just so that we can get some really dark points in some of those areas, like the little diamond shapes and the little filigree that goes around the eyeballs, as well as the shadow point in the eyeball itself. We just want to get a little bit of Agrax in there. Also around the iris itself, again, just to help create some separation, help create some depth in that area. But otherwise, not a whole lot is used. It's just simply just to bring some of those tones down a bit. Way Watcher Green is next. Very little of this is used, and we're just going to tint the eyeball, pushing the color up towards the shadow area of the eye itself. Again, this green is to throw in just a hint of this unnatural kind of color and kind of look. The Eye of Horus often has this kind of faded green kind of quality to it. And so as you can see here, I'm simply just pushing that green up towards the shadow type area where it's deepest in the eyeball. Again, it's not too much green, but it's just enough there to, separate it from the filigree so it doesn't feel like the same kind of stuff. White Scar is next, and of course we are going to throw in two little spot highlights into the iris of the eye as well as out onto the eyeball itself. We'll throw a little spot highlight in there. And you can end it there, and if you're happy with that, but for me, I'm going to throw a little bit of art coat on it. And I'm going to use a fairly generous amount of this on my brush. First, I just throw a quick layer onto the surface of the eyeball, and then I grab a little bit more from the palette and lay it on really heavily and kind of get this nice smooth little dome shape, a little blobby on that eyeball. You can see it kind of gets kind of murky, but that's fine because once it dries, it's going to go crystal clear again. But that's what I want. I want that nice, almost it looks like a big gem sitting on his arm. And so once it's dry, you can see here how The eye is reflecting all that light. We have that filigree in around the arm, and that is it. That is the Eye of Horus on an Emperor's Children Marine for the Horus Heresy. It's as easy as that. Don't be afraid to give it a try. We've got even more painting tutorials in the Silver MiniWarGaming Vault. You can watch another one today about painting the free-handed symbol of the Emperor's Children, as you can see here. And of course, that's the video is in the vault already for today. If you just click the link in the video description below and watch it right now. If you don't have a MiniWarGaming Vault membership, you can click the link, sign up for a 7-day trial. Make sure that you sign up for the Silver membership so that you can access the painting tutorials, and you'll get instant access to over 1,000 painting tutorials already in the vault. And so thank you for watching. Happy wargaming.